Hello everybody, this is the grade 10 theory lesson. Today's lesson is 3B and the topic is scales. So in our previous lesson we learned about minor tonality and we learned about the relationship that exists with relative major and relative minor tonalities. And today we're going to be building upon that, and we're going to look at not just beyond the key signatures but also how these things are applied in a scale. So we're going to learn a variety of scales today. And the first we're going to look at is what's called the harmonic minor scale. So on Monday we learned about the association, again, major key signatures and the relativity with minor keys. If we use C major as the example, and we said if we played all the same notes that exist in C major but starting on an A instead, we actually will create what's known as the natural minor scale. So that is one of the minor scales we learned from Monday, but today we're going to build upon those. And the next one we're going to talk about is the harmonic minor scale. So this is a variation of the natural minor scale we just discussed. It does share the same tonic and it does share the same key signature, but the difference is that the harmonic minor scale has a raised seventh degree by a semitone. This change is the same for both ascending and descending forms of the scale. And remember that raising a degree by a semitone could mean the use of either a sharp, a double sharp, or a natural, depending on the original pitch. So in this example, we've got a B minor, natural minor scale. So you can see we've got our key signature. We're starting on a B, up to a B, back down to a B. And the natural minor scale, again, it's diatonic to its key signature, so there are no altered notes beyond what is in the key signature. If we compare this scale to the one below, the harmonic minor, we note that this one has a raised seventh degree. So you'll notice the seventh note in this case, so down here with the A, it's been raised to a sharp because, again, we have to raise it relative to the key. It was a natural before, up here, and now we need to use a sharp to raise that. So this note gets raised by a semitone. You'll notice in its descending form, it also remains raised. So in the harmonic minor is always going to have a raised seventh throughout its existence. So when the scale is used in composition, different various melodic lines, even with chords associated well, this raised seventh is very important that this is taking place. And this is a very commonly used scale for a lot of pieces that are written in minor key. The harmonic minor is used almost exclusively, quite often. If we compare a different scale, so this one G sharp minor, so again the relative major of B, the relative minor of B major. We've got our 5 sharps starting on a G, up to a G, back down to a G. In its natural state, again, no notes are altered beyond what's in the key signature. Compared to the one below, the G sharp harmonic minor. So again, we need to raise, the harmonic minor says raise the seventh relative to what you have. So and over here, the F sharp is what's the natural pitch for the minor scale of G sharp minor, but we need to raise that. And the way in which we raise a single sharp is the use of a double sharp. So back in grade 9, we were labeling the piano keyboard and showing all the various different accidentals and different notes, the names that could be used for all of those keys. So remember, pretty much every key on the keyboard has 3 possible names, and this is one of the reasons why we learned about double sharps, is because this is where we commonly see them in minor keys. So moving on, the next type of a minor scale that we're going to look at is what's known as the melodic minor scale. This is also a variation of the natural minor scale that we discussed in 3A. It does share, again, the same tonic and the same key signature. However, the difference is that the 6th and the 7th degrees are raised by a semitone in the ascending form of the scale, while we lower them back down their natural minor state on the descending form of the scale. So we'll use D minor with 1 flat in our key signature for this. So here's the natural minor, D natural minor scale, compared down here to the melodic minor scale. So you can see that melodic minor, again, we raise that 6th and the 7th note. 6th note of D minor is the B flat in its diatonic shape, but we need to raise it, so we actually need to use a natural in this case to raise that pitch. And C is natural in D minor, so we are going to use a sharp. So there's the raised 6th, there's the raised 7th. As we descend, we lower them back to what their natural pitch would be in the key signature. So you can think of a melodic minor, raised 6th and 7th on the way up. On the way down, it should look like a natural minor scale. Okay, this one does, again, use, there is some change. So when we're writing out our scales for our minor scales, we want to get in the practice of doing ascending and descending patterns. For major scales, we didn't have to worry so much about that because, again, the notes were not going to be altered. They were diatonic to the key. However, Now, especially with the melodic minor, you must show a descending form. The other thing we'll notice is that with our scales, we're fairly relaxed with when we're teaching these concepts. Some students have learned a proper form. Yes, would be time signature. There'd be some bar lines in here, but when we're doing with the melodic minor, because we aren't using those things, and again, melodic minor, we absolutely must be using these various accidentals. But if we were using bar lines, we could get away with not having to insert an natural in front of this pitch. But because we have no bar lines, again, remember that an accidental affects the pitch of a note for its full duration until indicated otherwise, and so we do need to make sure we're altering it back again. Okay. Scroll down a little bit here. Our next example, A sharp natural minor. Ooh, our favorite key signature, everybody's favorite key. Oh, I'm just going to put a double bar line there. 7 sharps, relative minor of C sharp major. So A sharp natural minor, once we have our 7 sharps, it's just writing the notes of the scale and showing what those are. Compare this to the A sharp melodic minor scale. Now you'll notice that there's a raised 6th and 7th on the way up. So we do need an F double sharp and we need a G double sharp. There is, however, on the descending form, there is a mistake in this guide. So I'm going to correct this right now. In its descending form, what we need to be, so in order to lower a double sharp back to a single sharp, we actually need to be using a sharp. So I'm going to be doing this for both of those examples. So instead of using a double sharp, because again, there's no distinction on the way down. We do need to lower these pitches back to their original pitch. So to lower a double sharp back to a regular sharp, we just use a sharp to indicate that. Okay, so that is a mistake in your guide. So please catch that and just be aware that as you're lowering, you still need to lower relative to the key. And it should always match what your key signature is in a melodic minor in its descending form. All right, so you'll notice this when we're talking about pentatonic scales now. So last year in grade 9, we learned about the major pentatonic scale. This year we're going to learn about the minor pentatonic scale. So again, pentatonic scales, they're diatonic, but they have 6 pitches rather than 8. And the 6, you're thinking, well, penta means 5. We're including the octave. Okay, so yes, there are still just 5 notes in the scale, but if you include the octave, it's 6. Okay, there are both major and minor versions of the pentatonic scale that we will be covering in this lesson. Pentatonic scales can be derived from the major and the natural minor scales using certain degrees. So a quick review from grade 9. C major scale, right, C to C, no key signature because it doesn't have one. Major pentatonic is basically the same, except we eliminate the 4th note and we eliminate the 7th note because those are unstable, awkward pitches when we're using them in composition. So you remember the 7th, very dissonant, 4th, kind of an ambiguous note, right? So we eliminate those and we're just simply left with 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and then again the octave 8. So that was our major pentatonic scale from last year. This year, with the natural minor pentatonic, or the natural minor scale rather, we'll look at that first. So C minor will use 3 flats in its key signature. Other than that, it looks the same. And we scroll down, so a minor pentatonic scale. So rather than using the 2nd note and eliminating the 4th, we actually eliminate the 2nd and we use the 4th. We take the 6th away and we use the 7th note. Okay. By removing the 2nd note, the minor pentatonic scale, we really highlight the distinct flavor and characteristic of minor tonality, and that's the 3rd. Very important note that again, it differentiates it from what our major tonality, what we're used to hearing in major tonality. So by eliminating the 2nd, it allows us to really kind of highlight that distinct aspect of this scale. And that is pretty much it for today's lesson. So we've got a couple questions to answer here. You'll notice, just like before, all of these staves, there are clefs that are absent. We're leaving that in your hands and encouraging you to use a variety of different clefs so that you get some practice. So we'll just skip down. Let's do a C harmonic minor scale. Why not? So I'm just going to move my page here a little bit. I'm going to do this one in the bass clef, because we do need to know bass clef, and this is good practice. So C harmonic minor, remember from 3A, if you need to review back how to determine key signatures. 2 ways you can do it. You can use your minor circle of 5ths and 4ths, or you can envision a piano keyboard. And remember to find, if you're comfortable, and the piano keyboard is a great tool if you're very well versed in your major key signatures, and you can recall those very quickly. The technique, the second part of 3A lesson, where we look at using a piano keyboard, might be something that's helpful for you. So we know that every minor scale shares the same key signature as a major scale as well. So to find a major key signature from a minor key signature, up 3 semitones, 2 letter names. So that would bring us up to the pitch E flat. So C harmonic minor, or rather C minor key signature is the same as E flat major. So we're going to go ahead and add our C. Now this is C minor, so the difference obviously with E flat. So we want to make sure we're starting on a C. And I'm just going to do mine in whole notes, so I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to space these out as even as I can. Double bar at the end. So what I've drawn, if I just simply left this scale the way it is, I've actually drawn this one, C natural minor. But remember, harmonic minor, what does that mean? It means raise the 7th relative to your key. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This pitch currently is a B flat. Remember this effect. So the B's, the E's, and the A's are all flat in C minor. So currently this is a B flat, which means that if I need to raise that by a semitone, I need to use a natural. And it also stays raised in its descending form. So I'm going to, now this is kind of redundant with, this is what I was speaking with earlier with using, if we were to do time signature and bar lines, we wouldn't really need to worry about this. However, it's good practice. It's just a nice reminder visually to see, oh, right, it stays ascending on its way up and on its way down. Okay, so just good practice, good form to do that step. We scroll down, it's asking to write 2 other scales in different keys for each scale type. So a harmonic, a melodic, a major, a pentatonic, and a minor pentatonic. I'm not going to do all of those. You can refer back to your notes and have a look at some of those. So again, that's basically reproducing this question that we've got here. C natural minor, C harmonic minor, C melodic minor, the C minor pentatonic, which is going to look the same as this, just take away the 4th and the 6th, the 2nd and the 6th notes. And as we go down, C major pentatonic is the reverse of that. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and away you go. Okay, that concludes today's theory lesson. This is 3B again. This was scales. Stay tuned for our next theory lesson, which will be 6A. Thanks for watching, everybody.